don't you complain. You might be tired, but you need to make sure you have the house tidy or have food or whatever the traditional task
woman
was.
Is supposed to do,
And I think the men never questioned that because on the outside it looked like you're doing well. You got it together. I think for the first time, because women started vocalizing more, men were forced to pay attention. And a man who loves a woman or who loves in general, they're always going to try to step in, not even try, they're always going to step up where they see they're needed. So I think part of the reason why millennial men are dope is they're seeing their wives being honest, being vulnerable, and saying, oh, I didn't know that this was needed. Required.
Welcome to the NOIRPOISED podcast, where wisdom is power is more than just a motto.
It's our way of life.
Hey, y'all. So we are heading towards the end of season 3.
It's crazy.
Right? I think Father's Day is coming up either the middle or the end of June, so we may not be recording during that time, but we cannot end the season without praising our millennial dads. Because honestly, I love to see it. I love to see how the dads in our generation are changing the way fatherhood looks in a positive way. Witnessing some of the men in my life, whether that's family or friends, and how involved they are with their children and even with their wives. You hear a lot of statements about married women being single mothers within their marriage because men are just not involved. And I think that was like a common thing with the previous generation before us.
Welcome to the NOIRPOISED podcast, where wisdom is power is more than just a motto. It's our way of life.
Because the dad was out just going to work, coming home, watching soccer, going to work, coming home, watching basketball, But I really want to take the time to praise the men of our generation because you guys are not just going to the games and doing the sport things because I feel like that's expected of you, but dads are like also assisting with cooking. Y'all are doing laundry sometimes. You guys are changing diapers, which was not a thing before this generation. Dads are really stepping in where needed to help their family progress and to help their wives and the mother of their children. So I wanted to cater this episode to you guys because I think y'all need to hear it. Just like we said it in the Mother's Day episode, I really feel like dads need to hear that you're doing a grand old job. At least the ones that I know. The dads that I know for the most part, I really want y'all to know that it's seen. Y'all are doing amazing, and I'm sure your children are going to realize it. But enough with the mush. On a general scale, fatherhood has changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it has changed. I feel like it's for the better, but I can see how there could be some cons to it too. It has changed. It does not look the way that it did when we were coming up. And that was just, like a few decades ago.
Why do you think that is? Because even, first of all, I'm a millennial dad, so thank you. Appreciate it. I try. We're trying. But what do you think led to this change?
I think many things. One, there isn't as much of a village anymore. I think back in the day, there were always grandparents, aunts, cousins, just other women that's able to step in to watch the kids, step in to help with food or whatever the case is. I don't think our generation has access to that as much as our previous generations did. And life is just so expensive that some people can't afford to get the help that they would like to have or need. And life is so expensive that the aunts and the cousins and the grandmothers, they got to work. So they have their own lives that they have to support. So they can't give the time to help others because everybody's just out here fending for themselves as much as they can. So I think because of that, it forced men to step in areas that was never required or even seen for them to step in before. You would never see let me not say never, but coming from a Caribbean household, if you know, you know. The men are not really seen in the kitchen. Will they wash a dish once in a blue? Yeah, but they're not seen in the kitchen. The gender roles always labeled that as a woman's job. So the wife and the mom always did that. It was never the man that's going to cook a meal. It's never the man that's going to change a diaper. He would play with the kids maybe, but it wasn't common to see those kind of things. But I think because there isn't as much of a village anymore for our generation, especially here in America, men are having to step in because women can't do it on their own. That's
Yeah.
the reality of it. And women are also working full-time jobs. So they're working the same hours, sometimes even more hours than their spouses. So obviously the man is going to see that and step in where he can. So I think that's partly why it's happening. And then I also believe that we're evolving as people. Like, we're evolving mentally and emotionally. And that's something that wasn't laser focused on when we were coming up, for men to see things in an emotional way, or see the mental state of a woman, or understand that, like, yeah, she's not crazy, she's hormonal. You know, like, you guys are being given certain knowledge that our uncles and our fathers didn't have. And it's not their fault. They just didn't have it. So because we have access to more information now, we have more resources when it comes to intellect, it allows men to see where they can step in more to be better for their families. And I think that's what millennial dads are doing, or even Gen X dads in general right now that are fathering. I think that's what's happening. There's a shift occurring because they're realizing a lot of what other generations prior didn't realize.
Yeah. Not to make any excuses or anything, but a real man would always step in where it's needed.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the big differences between this generation and the generation before us and before them is women weren't making it exclusively clear where they're needed. So women in our
Not as
parents,
vocal.
they weren't as vocal.
Yeah.
So women in our parents' generation, I mean, we see it even till this day.
Yeah. They
Just
stay quiet.
You stay quiet. Don't you complain. You might be tired, but you need to make sure you
deal
have the
with it.
house tidy, or have food, or whatever the traditional task
Woman
was.
is supposed to do,
And I think the men never questioned that, because on the outside it looked like you're doing well. You got it together. I think for the first time, because women started vocalizing more, men were forced to pay attention. And a man who loves a woman, or who loves in general, they're always going to try to step in. Not even try. They're always going to step up where they see they're needed. So I think part of the reason why millennial men are dope is they're seeing their wives being honest, being vulnerable, and saying, "Oh, I didn't know that this was a
needed.
requirement.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I needed to step in and do the research, or be available for whatever the case is."
I can see
Another
that.
thing too, and this is speaking from myself, and also other men have told me this too, they were essentially tired of passing on the disappointment. So even for the best fathers out there, or the good fathers out there, men grew up and think, man, I wish my dad showed me this, or I wish my dad spoke to me more about, or warned me more about that, or he played, sports with me. He was always to himself. He kept quiet. He wasn't vulnerable. And naturally, throughout the generations, I think men just learned to keep quiet as well. Like, this is how men operate. You don't complain. You keep your head down. You do what you got to do. No one wants to hear about your pain or your emotions. Millennial men, it seems like, got to the point where we're saying, I don't want to pass that along to my children. So I'm going to make sure
Breaking the
that I
cycle.
do. Exactly. I'm going to make sure I do the self-work that it takes to be aware, but I'm also going to be actively involved in my kids' life. So it's not just about, I might play with you a little bit, but I want to know who your friends are. I want to know what you like to do for fun. It was such a stereotype growing up that fathers don't even remember your friend's name.
Yeah.
And people laugh about it. I've had fathers tell me how they would overhear their kids saying, he's not paying attention. And they would be hurt by it, but sometimes
It
you
was
got to
the
step
norm at the
back and
time,
think,
yeah.
like, why would your 16-year-old say he doesn't care about that? He's not paying attention. Sometimes we got to take accountability, and I think a lot of millennial fathers have done that or are doing that. So naturally, it's causing us to step up more.
Yeah, I could see that. I think millennial dads are definitely like great in that way, realizing that. So now I'm wondering, is it just because we're so emotionally aware in general as a society now? Like, I know y'all heard me in previous episodes when I'm just like, the emotions be too much a little bit. Let's be honest. But to some extent, there's benefits to it too, right?
Yeah.
I think we just have to find the balance. Like previous generations, there was a lack of emotional intelligence. There was none at all. And now I think there's just an excess of it. But it seems like the fathers are finding that middle ground where they know enough, or they're aware of enough emotionally that they're recognizing where they can do more and be more for their kids, but not just for their kids, but for themselves. Because I actually think it's healing for parents in general, but healing for dads to be able to do with their kids what they wish their fathers did. Because we all have the desire, right? So I'm assuming as a man, you probably had the desires to do certain things with your dad. And now you're like, man, those desires, I want to then do it with my children to make sure that like I fulfill those things, not just for them, but also healing for me too. So ultimately it's sounding like it's the increase in emotional intelligence that's causing us, specifically fathers, to step in and do more.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I would even just say emotional intelligence, because I heard a father who was separated from the woman he had children with, and he broke it down and said, you think I don't miss my kids? You don't think when I'm laying in bed alone and my kids are not in the same house with me that doesn't hurt me? Like it does, but society has made it so normal for men to hide that and to think that that's okay, that they fear being labeled emotional, so they kind of just hold it in. Even like coming from a Haitian background, right? A lot of times we think our fathers don't care or they're just stoic, when they really just held it in.
They're literally just suffering internally but not saying anything because it's not masculine to do so.
Right. It's not masculine to talk about your problems or to admit that you're suffering. So we always want to portray that we're strong, even when we know, and sometimes we know that we're going to deny it and just say, no, I got it together. Like, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is kind of thing. So it could be a combination of things, and emotional intelligence, I do think, plays a big part in it.
But with the emotional intelligence aspect, because for me, I think that's what is changing. That's what changed the game is the fact that you guys are more aware of certain things. Like you're more knowledgeable, you do better. That's the goal with each generation, right? We just keep on doing better. But there's something that I learned a while ago about the lack of testosterone when you're surrounded by, or when you're in environments where you have to be that emotional or aware of emotions in that way. There's something that occurs, I don't know the specific terms, but I'm just going to paraphrase here. Something about being around children and babies kind of diminishes your testosterone. And they said the more children fathers have, the less testosterone they actually have, right? It's like, I guess, to be more nurturing.
It's not just the children, actually. Tears of a Woman does the same thing.
To soften him up.
Lowers your testosterone, so you could be more receptive to whatever she's saying. Because what testosterone does is make you not care.
Right. So that's what I was getting at. So I wonder if, because I think there's benefits to the fact that men are stepping into these roles and doing more, but I can't help but play devil's advocate sometimes, because I know someone's thinking this, that is it also that testosterone levels are lower now in men as a whole on average than it was back then. So I wonder if that lower level is allowing men to be a little bit more receptive of these things than they did back then. Like, do you think that could be a factor?
That could be, and I could see it going both ways. Because I think a man with low testosterone will not only be able to recognize his emotions, but his emotions will control him. And the way I've used it, I've had my testosterone check and I'm fine. But the way I've used it, honestly, is
that's funny.
The times when I started learning to become more emotionally intelligent, I used that to fuel my manhood.
I love that.
So before, back in the day, the sole job of a man was to provide and protect.
Right.
And provide financially. Now we look at providing as something.
It's a whole thing.
Right?
It's not just physically.
It's like you have money, but are you providing for her emotionally, or your family emotionally, spiritually, and all that? But back then it was just money and safety, right? When I became more emotionally intelligent, I used the fact that I saw that my family needed me to step in emotionally as just taking that and adding it to that provide and protect. So it made me feel more as a man. So I think, lowering testosterone, there's a lot of bad that comes with it, but I think we could really use it to fuel even more testosterone.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I was hoping that's what your answer was going to be. No, I agree with that. But I know someone was thinking about it.
Something interesting that I learned is testosterone build on more testosterone. So testosterone builds on itself.
Okay.
So the more testosterone you produce, the more testosterone your body thinks you need, so you produce more.
That is interesting.
Yeah, so when I heard this, it was in context of winning. So the more you win, the more testosterone you produce, and makes you win more. So you'll see that men who are really successful, it's not just one avenue they're successful in. They'll be successful in many other avenues, because that testosterone that they get from winning just makes them look for other areas to win in.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
The biggest issue for men or fathers is not the testosterone, but it's hard to juggle between the roles now. Like being able to provide financially, that was clear. That was direct. You go out, if you got to work 16 hours, you work 16 hours. Whatever you got to do, you figure it out.
Yeah, strong men, this is what I do.
Yeah. Come home, right? The story was, and my father said to me the other day, when he comes home, when he used to come home, he would give my mom the whole check. And that was his way of saying,
I'm taking care of y'all.
I'm taking care of y'all. Here's my part. I'm
done.
I did
I'm done
my
for
part.
the day.
I did my part, right? So naturally, as a man, every man thinks about that, the money aspect. How am I going to be able to provide for my family? I've heard men who are not in relationships, don't have kids in their 20s, thinking like, I need to hustle right now so that my wife doesn't have to work. So we're raised up to think that's what you have to go towards. So now when you're in that environment and you have to work those 16-hour days to make money, what you're not prepared for is your absence is causing an issue now. So there were several times where I had to feel like I was juggling between fatherly roles. Should I be the father, the provider, and stay locked up in the office trying to make more money or trying to, get more ideas? Or should I be the father who's providing emotionally by being with my kids and being with my family? And it seemed like sometimes when I'm doing one, I'm being disappointed or I'm disappointing in the other. And I struggle sometimes to balance that. Should I be the nurturing father now, or should I be the provider father now? Should I be the protective, stern father, or should I be the more emotionally?
But why can't you do both? That's so interesting. Why is it so difficult to fluctuate between the roles?
I think biologically, I think it's harder for men to switch that on and off. It's easier for women to be able to be all that. It's just how your brains work. But I've learned that with men, you usually stay kind of like what we say with tunnel vision. Like you usually stay on one path, and it takes a lot of work to transition towards the other path. And we even say that for women too, where we had an episode when we were talking about the boss babe. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, y'all got on me. Y'all got on me with that episode. I was like, wow, the men out here really ain't feeling women at all.
And one thing that I didn't forget you said was women have to be very alpha out there, and which is cool. Men are cool with that. But then when you come into the issue was
get back on it. But
the issue was when women come home and they start being alpha. The man feels like they're being challenged. So even for women, actually, you may not know when you have it switched on and off.
I see what you're saying.
So for men, it's the same thing. Where I personally, there's so many times I'm like, I know my daughter says she wants me, she misses me. I know she wants me here, but.
I could be in the office doing this.
Yeah, I could be in the office doing this and really, providing financially for my family. So which one do I choose? And sometimes I choose a financial role, and it just kills me inside. Like I'm in the office, like, dang, man, I can't even focus, And then sometimes I'm with her, and I'm like, she's happy, she's smiling, but then
could have made that money.
And sometimes she could see me not there.
Yeah,
like I'm zoned out just thinking. She's like, "What are you looking at?"
Yeah.
So it's hard. I feel like it's hard for fathers sometimes to juggle both, and that's something that other generations didn't really have to deal with.
Think about. Yeah, but I feel like there's a way to do that though. I'm just wondering what's the way. I don't know, but I feel like there's a way to have balance. I think that's what we struggle with as a society. We go from one extreme to the other. We never really find a middle ground. I understand that men are built biologically to be tunnel vision, and I think you can do that. But I think it's choosing which one you want to be and being tunnel vision in that moment versus I'm this way all the time, or I'm doing this all the time. Having the ability to be present, I think, is really what it is, right? Because like you say, you're thinking about the fact that you're not in the office making more, and you're with her. Now you're not present in that moment because you're so focused on the other side, and vice versa. Where if you were able to be more present in the moment in what you're doing in tunnel vision that way, I think it would create that balance. No?
Yeah, I heard I listened to an audiobook one time where he challenged that idea and said you just have to create boundaries. Meaning, like, if you're going to be with your kids, don't have your phone with you.
Right.
Likewise, if you're going to be in the office, tell your family, like, this is undisturbed. Undisturbed moment. It's easier said than done, but that's one of the clear answers I've heard. If I could go back in time and give myself fatherly advice, it would be, don't expect your role to be fit into one or a few individual boxes.
I like that.
But you have to be prepared to fill in the gap everywhere. And that's not just finances. That's not just cooking and cleaning. Like, you have to be an emotional support system, not just for your wife, but for your kids as well. You know, you have to be the fun dad. You know, sometimes we only focus on being the fun dad. That's cool. But fun is not always what you think it is.
Elaborate.
So I used to think fun as, I'm just going to play. You know, we're just going to play. We're going to run around. Yeah, I get you tired. But fun could also be educational. So a lot of dads, you know, they'll play with the kids, but it's like, are you really teaching them anything? Helping with the organization of things. One lesson I learned as a kid, I seen it in a show. I don't remember what show it was, but the father would wake up and he would go to work and the mom would be home with 4 boys, right? The father would wake up and play with the kids. He's thinking like, that's what I do.
Yeah.
The person who was on the show, the producer, was saying, you're setting your wife up for failure because all you do is hyping them up, like shaking them
and then leaving.
You're leaving.
Yeah.
So I never forgot little things like that, because fathers, we think, I'm playing with my kids.
I'm spending time with them.
Spending time with them. That's good. But are you educating them? You know, what lessons are you teaching them? I never thought of myself as an educator for like my own kids. I was literally thinking, your job to entertain. Entertain, that's it. But fatherly roles, or the right fatherly roles, you can't put them in a box. You have to be able to fill in the gap. And that's something I would tell myself to be ready for, because I don't think I was ready for it when I became a father. I think it became exposed as I,
that's a good point, but that's leadership.
Yeah.
I think that's the misconception that a lot of us have, is that fatherhood looks one particular kind of way, but as a leader, you have to be able to adapt based on the changes in the environment. That's what leadership is. You're leading, but that doesn't mean leadership looks like this particular way. There's a time where you may be leading and you may be guiding the marketing team of the business, right? And there's another time where you're leading and you're required to just go accept an award and give a speech. There's another time you're leading and you actually have to step in and guide the manager on where to go, what to do. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different parts of leadership that is often neglected because it doesn't sound masculine or fatherly. But that's one thing that I actually commend dads in our generation now, is I think you guys are noticing that. I think you guys are realizing that, like, no, it's not just about provision physically with finances, but it's provision mentally, it's provision emotionally, provision spiritually. Leadership is not a one size fits all. It requires you to step in different ways at different points in times. Depends on the season. That's really what fatherhood is to me. And I think men are realizing that, or at least I think families as well are realizing that, because women are being vocal a little bit more and saying what they expect or what they need from their leader. And I think that's very important.
I'm going to say this too, and I think if every father out there is being honest, they would agree. For a long time, men who fathered did it behind a blanket of fear and self-doubt. And I say that as in, we don't want to step into a role and we mess up. That's why even the men with the highest leadership position in companies, they'll step in at home and be like, do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do that? Like, they're afraid of messing up. And they don't have any doubt in themselves. And right now the veil is being torn off so that we're forced to confront that fear and that self-doubt, and it's causing us to step up more and think like, oh, I could
you can learn something. Yeah, like I could learn and I can figure out how to do this. I don't have to be strong and almighty in every single thing. Yeah.
Because even some of the most simple tasks that you do on a daily basis, when I first did it with our daughter, I was scared. I was scared of messing up. And if I know you were unavailable or you wouldn't be available yet, I would try to stall because I'm like, I'm afraid of doing something wrong. Like, I didn't have the confidence in myself. And it wasn't until I practiced or I watched you do it one time, I'm like, oh, I thought it was more complicated. And I don't know what I was afraid of, but I think fathers, we live behind that mask or that blanket of fear and self-doubt.
That's really good. I never really thought of that. But now hearing you say it out loud, I'm seeing it more.
Yeah. And it comes off as we don't care.
Yes. That's why I'm like, unaware. Oh, that really makes sense.
But the truth is we're hiding. Yeah. That's what it is.
It doesn't, not even that you don't care. It just comes off that like men assume like, that's not my job. I'm not going to do it.
But
you know
even
what I
the
mean?
reaction you just had, that's a fear. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to hold on to that. That's not me. I don't know anything about that.
As you say it, it's almost like I had an epiphany. Now I'm seeing it. Like I'm
Yeah.
thinking of different situations. I'm just like, oh, because there were times I would walk on and be like, why did he think to do that? But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think y'all are doing great. I think you're doing great. But I think millennial dads are doing amazing. And you know how like sometimes you give someone praise and you're giving them the praise because they're just doing better than the last person? I don't even think it's a situation like that. I genuinely think millennial dads are really like dope. Like I was telling you about a new father that we know, like just watching him evolve and being active and stepping in ways that like I never envisioned this person doing. I'm like, this is what y'all do. It's not just that individual. Like I watched you do it. You know what I mean? I watch other people in our lives do it. It's really beautiful to see the men now stepping in where necessary to ensure that their family is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's beautiful. And I think you guys deserve to know that. So, but what would you say to someone who isn't a dad, who's getting ready to be a dad, and they probably have the mindset you had at that time, like before we had children? What would you say to them?
Well, you really done it now, huh? No, I'm kidding. But I would say it's not going to be easy. You're going to be confused a lot.
I'm sorry. I don't need to laugh. That was funny.
If I could go back in time or just talk to a father,
you're going to be confused a lot.
Yeah, you're, and I think that's important because as men, as leaders, right? Mm-hmm. And I put that in quote because that's just what, they say men are the head of the house or whatever the case is. You feel like you always have to have the answer. So when you go into a situation and you don't know the answer, you feel like I'm failing already, or I got to fake the funk. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be confused a lot. There's going to be a lot of first time incidents that you don't know what to do. It's okay to vocalize that. But I would say be ready to vocalize that, but also be ready to do the research or do whatever you have to do to figure it out. Mm-hmm. I think men are great in figuring things out. No matter what the situation, a man can get himself out of it somehow. Mm-hmm. I think we're literally
wired
in
that
our
way.
DNA to do that, to figure
Problem
it out.
solvers.
I would also say find one thing that rejuvenates you. Mm-hmm. And just keep that. You don't need a million things. Just find one thing that rejuvenates you, that you can take your energy out on, your testosterone, your frustration out on, and just keep that, because you're also going to need that. Yeah, we're more emotionally stable than a woman, especially going through that time period of her life, and children, obviously, but we're still emotionally unstable. I think sometimes we look at the extremes of the case, be like, that's not me, so I must be good. It's like, no, you're not good, honestly. You're not good. You're going through a lot yourself. Mm-hmm. Give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Take it one day at a time.
Right.
Don't take anything personally. Because I think a lot of men, when they fall out, is because they receive criticism
and they don't like
from their spouse.
Yeah. Who would like it? Let's be honest. None of us like criticism.
Yeah, none of us like criticism, but in the right sense, because I had to think of this myself, right? When I'm at work and they give me criticism, I don't take it personally at all.
I don't care. I told you this before, right?
No, it's not that I don't care, honestly. I remember it, so I clearly care. But I use it as a way of improving. Kind of like in boxing or in any sport. You have those timeouts where the coach is yelling at you, be like, what are you doing?
But
you know better. And you take it and you're like, all right, thanks, coach. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do better. I think in relationships...
Maybe it's how it's received. How it's given, I mean.
I don't think so either, because the coaches, the teachers... I've had some teachers say things to me that could have been really hurtful if I wasn't in the mindset that, oh no, they're saying this so I can be better. I think
so what is it?
In relationships, for one reason or another, whatever criticism we get, warranted or not, we don't take it as you want me to be better or do better. We take it as you're trying to demean me, you're trying to attack me.
Interesting.
Yeah, so don't take anything personally. Even me, there were certain things you said to me in the past that I took personally and I didn't have a good reaction to. And it wasn't until like a while later, I think back, like she was literally just giving me guidance. But I took it as an attack versus as coaching or as a suggestion. So go into fatherhood with that mindset. Like you're in a sport. In between rounds or during the timeout, you're going to receive criticism. Take that criticism and just do better. It's not an attack on you, even if it's said harshly. We've heard coaches and people really talk down to somebody. Sometimes smack them, but you don't.
Yeah,
and
it motivates them to do better. You're just like, what kind of abusive relationship
You're right. I could
is
do
this?
better. I'm sorry, coach. I'm gonna do better. Don't take it personally.
Right.
Find a little way, some way to rejuvenate yourself, and be ready to be everything that you could be or need to be, and you're gonna be dope.
I love that. To piggyback on the rejuvenation part, because that was my thing. I think a lot of times men think the best thing is to neglect themselves, forget themselves, because, and I understand it, the woman just went through so much. There's a baby involved. Let's focus on the children and the women. And I think to some extent, yes, I get it. That's in your nature. But what I always say is your family's only going to be as good as you are. That's just reality. I understand the concept of, taking the clothes off your back to provide and cover and protect your family. I believe in that. But at the same time, understanding that if you drop dead, what they doing? So don't forget to take care of yourself. So rejuvenate yourself, I think, is very important. Like, as leaders across the board, specifically men in families, you have to find time to make sure that you're okay, so you can then have the strength to be okay for your family as well. So that's my advice.
I love that.
And we're out. Happy Father's Day to you guys. You guys are amazing. We love you.
You guys are dope.
Thank you for spending your time with us. We hope you gained some knowledge today that'll promote poise in your life. We have new episodes uploaded every Thursday right here, same place, same time. Until next time, you can follow us on Instagram at NOIRPOISED Podcast to stay connected. That's NOIRPOISED Podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback.
And remember, your wisdom is power.